Aloha everyone, my name is Alessandro and this is the Temple of Surf, the podcast. We'll give you full access to the best surfers, skaters, shapers, surfboard collectors, shop owners in the world. Discover with me their stories, the greatest successes, amazing behind the scenes, and much more. This episode is brought to you by Yogi Pipe, a line of apparel created with eco-friendly materials by artisans from all over the world. Let's discover more about them and their collection on www.yogipipe.surf. Aloha, welcome to the 14th episode of the Temple of Surf, the podcast. Today with us is Dana Brown, filmmaker and son of the legendary Bruce Brown. I'm sure you remember The Endless Summer and Up Any Sunday. We discuss with him about his latest film, A Life of Endless Summer, The Life of Bruce Brown, future projects, surf, and much more. Hello, Dana, and welcome to the show. Where are you today?
I am in Venice, California, which on the beach here, kind of by LA.
How is it going over there during the time of coronavirus? There is still the lockdown. People are allowed to go around. How is it going?
Well, right now, people are allowed to go around, but we have to wear masks. Movie theaters aren't open. And it seems to be because we have a spike again over here. Every day it seems it's a little different, but everybody's gone through it, but unfortunately here there's been and for California we were going down, but now it's going back up again. So we're just kind of, following the rules, doing the best we can.
I guess it's the only thing to do. Today we're not going to talk about coronavirus for sure. we're gonna talk about your latest movie dedicated to your father, Life of Endless Summer, and then we're gonna talk about the movie and surf. And do you surf, by the way?
Cool. Yeah. I probably started surfing when I was 4 or 5, so I've been doing it over half a century. I should be a lot better than I am. Yeah, I surf. Absolutely.
Keep practicing.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I have a lot of friends that are, like really good surfers, former pros or pros, and I really feel like a dummy then. But I haven't drowned yet, so I'm doing okay.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Most important thing, I would say.
Yeah, it's most important. Get back to shore.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about another important thing. In your opinion, what is the most important thing in surfing, apart of surviving? What is it?
Oh, having fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Having fun. I think, surfing's an interesting thing, right? You can, if you're a big wave rider, you're pushing the envelope. If you're a professional surfer, you're trying to hone your skills. But then you could just live in the suburbs and go surf with your kids, and that's just the most joyous afternoon you can have. So it's all over the map. Robert August, who was in Endless Summer, famous shaper, he said the best surfer in the world is the one having the most fun. So I think that's true.
I think so. So you started surfing pretty young, but do you remember your first surfboard?
Yeah. Yes, I do. It was a Del Cannon. It's a total involvement on it. There's pictures of it at my folks' place, I guess our place, me and my brother and sister's place now, but on the wall. But yeah, I do remember my first board. Absolutely.
Do you still have it, or it just like?
No, I don't. I think somebody told me that it's in a museum or so. Somebody got it when I was a teenager and they kept it and they gave it to a museum. I haven't seen it in a long time, but yeah. When you're a kid, yeah. You just go on to the next board, it sits in the garage, and eventually your parents give it away, kind of thing, because you're not using it. So, yeah, I remember.
It ended up in a museum. That's important, right? So,
yeah, well, it's kind of, it seems like that's a little much, but, if it was Eddie Young's board or Tommy Carroll's or my dad's, but I don't. Yeah, it's humbling for sure.
Okay. So, today, the interview, it will be totally dedicated to the movie. So when have you realized that you wanted to do a movie about your father?
Well, in about 2012, so quite a while ago, I was kind of in between movies myself, bigger movies, and I wanted to, my mom had died and Dad didn't get out of the house much, and we were trying to just kind of take him to see some of his friends. He was pretty down. obviously, about that. And I just had this idea, like I was going to make it like a web series. Like we're going to do these little short vignettes you just see on the internet. And we filmed it and we started to cut it. And then I got an offer to do On a Sunny Next Chapter, which was a big film about motorcycle racing. And I got done with that. And then I got offered to do a sequel to a movie I did called Dust to Glory that was about the Baja 1000. And then all these years had gone by and we'd kind of worked on it a little bit. And then when my father died, passed away, it just became like, oh, we can make a movie of this. Because then we'd have like his life. It was a little different than just a web series. So then in 2000, I believe that was 18. My daughter's over here. I was looking at my daughter. I think it was 2018. We started just to cut it, and we finished it last year, and it's coming out this year. So
amazing! It's coming out in August, right? 6th of August.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's supposed to be at a film festival. That's up in the air, but it's available for the public on August 18th.
18th
on everything, iTunes and all that stuff, Apple TV, and then a week later it's available on a bunch more, and then in September it's available on Amazon Prime, for free. It's got many, in the modern world, it's got many lives, but people will be able to find it.
Yeah, so the movie is fantastic. It's a history of life, as you say. Is a history of friendship, is a history of surfing, and if you had to pick like a memory of your father in behind the scene, so what people cannot see, the best memory, which one would it be for in that period of the movie?
I worked with him on Endless Summer too, and so I was behind the scenes a lot with him. And in my memories are how much he was always fun. He wasn't necessarily always trying to entertain people, but he was always such a positive influence that you could be in the middle of nowhere with two flat tires and somehow you were laughing and having a good time. That's what I remember. It's just he brought so much joy to what he was doing. I mean, we all work hard and everything, but there's always a joke or, it's like a surf trip, right? If you're a surfer, you don't spend that much time in the water compared to how much time it takes to get to the water, all that other stuff. And surfers are usually pretty good at passing the time, having some fun. So those are my memories. I don't know if I have a specific memory of that, except just a general sense of laughter and just feeling stoked.
Exactly. And the movie, like you are in a camper van and you're traveling across California, and then you go to Hawaii, and then you meet a lot of friends. So there is not a lot of surf per se, right? There are a lot of surfers and surf people, but it's actually is a journey, and it's amazing, right? It's like a classical surf trip, but without surfboards.
That's right. It's a surf trip with like flashbacks to surfing. That's right.
Exactly, with a lot of cameras and films and movie. During this movie, this adventure, let's say, your father, you met a lot of great personalities, from O'Neill to Fred Hemmings to I don't know, Obi. There are so many. Which one, in your opinion, was very meaningful for your father among all the people, old friends that he met?
On the surf side, because in the movie we visit some of his motorcycle friends too, Mert Lawwell and Kenny Roberts. But I would say on the surf side, the most meaningful, Hobie and him were very, very close. And when you see Hobie in the movie, it was probably a month or two before he passed. He was pretty ill. I mean, it was amazing. He wanted us to come up and visit. And him or Gordon Clark, Grubby, is another old. And those guys go back to when they were teenagers. When they just all were hanging out at the beach and they knew each other. And that's what I got. A lot of those guys knew each other long before they were successful in anything, and they fed off each other's intelligence and creativity and stuff. So they're a very close group,
And, like what is amazing for me is, if you want to say, is a rediscovery of the true meaning of friendship, right? Because you're saying basically that basically friends of your father helped him when your mother died, and they
Yeah.
helped to go out from his let's say routine in the house, and but also when I see like your father meeting people that was not meeting for maybe 20 years, it was like if he had met them maybe 20 minutes ago, right?
Yeah. I think that those guys are like, and I think surfers in general, but there's a little bit like they're like old cowboys. They shared something that other people didn't share or something. You know
Yes.
that, and I was so charmed as we were filming it by that. You know, and I'm glad that you saying such nice things because that was kind of the point. You know, because I think if people watch it, they don't necessarily have to even be into surfing. It's about a life well lived. You know, and valuing your friends, not valuing your stuff or accomplishments. You know, you more value the friendships and the good times,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
No, it does. And like it also shows, in this world, especially today, where we see riots in the street and people like unhappy about basically everything. And if we go back to the true meaning of friendship and do good for people, right? And if you do
Right.
good for people, people will remember or will be friend with you forever. And
Yeah.
actually, something that you say at the really end of the movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
To be good, and it makes a lot of sense. And your father was a clear example, right?
Yeah.
If
I think so too. Yeah. I think it's that, you treat people like you'd want to be treated, and then that just perpetuates itself. I mean, I think, yeah, that's what I really liked about his story and those guys' story as well, is they're first and foremost just good people. And we seem to now worship stuff or success or whatnot, and being a good person is a little lower on the list. Or, I'm in Southern California, so it's probably even lower on the list here. It's just a little bit of a rat race. But the bottom line is, if you're a good person, you're going to have a good life.
yes,
And I think they're all very good people. And they followed they marched to their own drummers
yeah,
in a nice way,
yeah.
Um,
No, it shows.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I think somebody once said those guys, they just ooze self-confidence, but they don't have much ego. So they don't need other people to love them, but they're very confident in who they are. So,
Yeah.
If you're not always looking for people to love you, you can give love to them. And, it's all that. There's so much philosophy and stuff. What I like about the movie, in a way, we just show it, because I can't articulate it very well, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah, I agree. um, During the movie, you said one phrase that stick to my mind is like, uh, "Dad made a pipeline."
He
Is
named it. Yeah.
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 Can you tell me more about that? Why, in your
Well,
opinion, he made pipeline?
those guys were going to the North Shore, and not all those, Waimea was ridden, Sunset Beach. He named Velzyland too. So those guys, but it was still not visited a lot at all. So there was breaks and Pipeline. They thought, it's by that Eokai Beach Park right there. I don't know if you've ever been to Pipeline, but there's a big beach park, and it's just to the left of that. And they always just called it kind of Eokai. And then Phil went out and wrote it, and Dad filmed it, and they had to give it a name. And there was an open trench that they were putting some pipeline in, and it said, and they just thought that made sense because the wave looked like a pipe.
Yeah.
And the name stuck. And John Severson, who was the publisher of Surfer Magazine, he shot it around the same time, and he called it Bonsai Beach. And then they kind of, how surf breaks are just, some names stick and some don't, right? I mean, that's just what happened. So in that case, that one stuck.
Yeah, definitely. This is not the only film or movie that you have done. You have done several others, and so the question for you is: what is in your opinion, the most important thing in filmmaking?
I think wanting to tell a good story and believing it. I mean, for me, it's just kind of a crusade. Like, you want to tell the story. Years ago, when my first big feature was Step into Liquid, and it was just like, I wanted to show, like, basically a day in the life of surfing from all these different angles, from the guys surfing Cortez to little kids to a quadriplegic, Jesse Billauer surfing, and that was a crusade. I wanted to show surfing in a positive light and show how varied it was. So every film's a little different, but you have to get it in your head. I think if you do it like, oh, this is what everybody likes, and I'm going to pander to this, I just don't think it. First of all, I don't think the films work as well, and second of all, I don't know how you keep the energy up to do that. You kind of got to get like a nut job. You got to get this philosophy and decide you have to say it. I'm sure it's the same reason you do this podcast. It's not.
Yeah, of course. You need to keep the attention line, and you need to be original. Because otherwise there are so many podcasts out there. There are so many movies out there, and you need to to interest people. Otherwise, it just becomes tense. And
you got to believe, and you have something to say or something you want to do, and you're going to do it. You're not, and just see how the chips fall, and hope other people do. But it starts with inspiration.
What was the defining moment of your career, in your opinion?
Oh, it was probably, I worked on Endless Summer 2 with my father. I did some TV shows, and then I got a chance to do Step into Liquid, which took 2.5 years. But the success of that film was probably, then I knew I could just do this the rest of my life. The film was kind of a big hit, and even in theaters, it was a thing. It was a little bit of a sensation, So I don't know if that's defining, but professionally, that was when I thought, well, cool, now I'll probably be able to do this the rest of my life because I've established myself. Other than that, I don't know if I have one, except I've made so many good friends. I mean, my daughter is sitting to my right here, and she works for me now, and it's like, it's just a blessing, and all my good friend camera guys that are my buddies, that we hang out on holidays together, even if we're not working together. So
yeah, it's a large family, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's the one thing that makes me happy. If it's not like that, life's tough enough. You better have family and friends, because it's I don't know if it's a cruel world, but it's certainly not fun sometimes, for people.
No, I agree. I agree with you. Let's go back to your father. And what was his most important teaching to you?
Dad?
Yeah.
To me, was just be a straight up person. Be nice to people. Be as honest as you can with people. Do what you say you're going to do, and don't put yourself above people. I think he was a very like I said, real self-confident guy, but a humble guy. Don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun.
Definitely. It shows in the movie as well. Sure. It's sometimes there are a few tears, but I guess most of the movie it's having a lot of fun, right? Especially in Hawaii. It seems that the Hawaii part was the best for him, right?
Yeah, he loved going back for sure. Yeah, a little easier being cooped in a motorhome for hours and hours.
So we said that the movie officially is gonna be released on the 18th, if I remember now, and then in September is in Amazon Prime. And then what's next? You are already working on something else?
Yeah, we're doing I'm doing another historical thing on what's been called the Dana Point Mafia, which is like Hobie, Grubby, John Severson, my father, the Hoffmans. In the late 50s, these guys all lived like in Dana Point and San Clemente. And at one point in surfing, the biggest manufacturers were down there of clothing, the biggest board makers. Gordon Clark was making all the foams there. Dad was doing his movies. So these friends changed. So they kind of made modern surfing, after Gidget, that's for these 5 or 6 or 7 years, they changed surfing unintentionally. They were just doing what they were going to do. And a lot of them moved on to other stuff, in the 70s. So it's just this look at this decade of these guys that started out as just kind of surf bums, and they just wanted to live close to the beach and be able to, support their families. And they ended up changing surfing.
Yeah. And actually they were changing without knowing, as you said, right?
Exactly. That wasn't their intention at all. They were just trying to, they're talented guys. And, you see that a lot. And it's just looking at that part of the evolution of modern surfing.
Yeah. Actually, I had the opportunity to interview Greg Knoll a couple of weeks ago. And I asked him the same thing. I said, like, people, they consider you a legend. Do you consider yourself a legend? And he said, like, well, good question. Maybe now for people I'm a legend, but I just surf. I was just like on the beach with my friends or with the board, and we were just surfing. And that's it. And then I became a legend for that. Maybe you're right.
Yeah, no, I think that's and Greg's the best. And Greg was a good friend of Dad's, and is a great friend of me and my family. So, yeah, I think it's just there's a real simple approach those guys have that's kind of inspiring. You know, like things are, it's just right in front of you, but you forget it sometimes. And so we've done a bunch of interviews for that, all these old guys and a bunch of young guys, and we're just starting to put it together now.
Nice, very nice. And like at the time, let's say 40, 50 years ago, maybe life was simpler than today, but definitely it sounded to be better. There was no all these like social media and exposure and globalization and whatever. It was more down to the roots of friendship and having fun and stories,
Yeah.
And how big was that wave? Was huge, but then was that huge, right? A lot of jokes and a lot of fun, and maybe we all need those years back, no?
I think so, yeah. I think, all this social media stuff's pretty new. It's been around a decade now or something, or more, but it's the first flush. I'm sure it'll straighten back out, but I agree. I mean, there's just a lot of lessons, instead of trying to impress a bunch of strangers that you never meet online, you want to make sure your friends are impressed, one way or another, and it's more of a personal thing. I think humans are like that. It's just, we're in an interesting part of our development as a species with these phones and things, I didn't have a cell phone forever. I get one on jobs, and then I just hated them. And now I have one that I literally, for the last 5 or 6 years, I'm always, where's my phone? For some reason, it affects your mind. I get mad at myself, Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, probably like you do a podcast interviewing people, in a film, I just try to show something, and then maybe it inspires people to go, get off your butt, and put the phone down, and go have fun.
Exactly.
Doing what you're going to do, or do something, because fun doesn't have to be laughing all the time. It can just be doing something positive, something you feel good about.
Yeah, and definitely the content that we put out there has to have some meaning. Otherwise, it's
it's just a popularity. It's just a weird contest to who can shout the loudest. Yeah.
So we're gonna finish our interview with a short Q&A session. So please answer the first thing that comes up to your mind. Okay.
Okay.
The best surfboard that you ever ridden?
Wow. A Robert August, What I Ride model.
Okay. Your favorite shaper?
Oh, man. I have some good friends that are shapers. I will say Mark Martinson.
Okay. Personal question. Your favorite song, if any?
Wow. That is such a good question. I should have an answer to this. I would say Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. Kind of cliche, but I really like that song. Wow. I like all of Dylan's stuff, but that's a hell of a song.
I really like it as well. Definitely is such an amazing song, yes.
It's one of the angriest songs I've ever heard. That's why I get a kick out of it. He's so mad. How does it feel?
It has life, It has life. Actually, it is again back to being humble and being a friend with people, and not to stay and rest to money or things that will disappear. And then when you have no more money, you're just like another Rolling Stone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So definitely. Your favorite surf spot?
It's a place called Augie's at Hollister Ranch.
Okay. So, and the second question, I ask you the favorite shaper. So now you have a lot of shapers that are enemies. Now let's try to do the same thing. No, I hope not, for sure. Let's try to do the same thing with the surfers. Your favorite surfer?
That's a really good question. I probably now. Oh, I'm going to say I got two answers. One is John Florence, John, I think is unbelievable. And probably all time my favorite surfer is Jerry Lopez, just from how elegant he is on land or in the ocean. But when I was a kid, that was the posters in the, you get the double wide poster out of Surfer magazine and put on your wall, and you just looking casual. Yeah. So Jerry Lopez and John Florence.
Yeah, and he's also part of the movie. It's very nice. The last question.
I have one more favorite surfer. Tom Curran would also be another one. Who's a real good friend, but Tommy's unbelievable as well. That's a hard question, right? I mean,
yeah.
Sorry.
The last question we ask to everybody has nothing to do with surfing, movie making, anything, but it's very unusual. So we want to know your best relationship advice.
My best relationship advice is be nice. Be as nice as you can, even when you're angry or even when you're upset, just be nice. I mean, I'm assuming we're talking personal relationships. I think in business relationships and something, if you got to drive a hard bargain, it's a little different. You don't.
No, it's a romantic relationship, personal relationship.
Or even raising your kids. You can be firm, but you got to. And by nice, I don't mean soft. I just try to be as nice as you can. I think because I think humans we're prone not to want to be nice. We're prone to cutting in front of people and let me be first, and we're all that way. So I think to kind of remind yourself to be nice is not a bad thing.
Definitely. If I had to ask the same question to your father, he would have answered the same. Be nice. Do you think?
He might have come up with a little bit. Yeah, it'd be in that vein. I'm pretty sure. Because I mean, you're obviously you're raised by your parents, and you try to take away what's best with them. But I think he was his granddaughter, my daughter's right here. You think Dad would say that? Yeah. I think be nice. Absolutely.
Good. Fantastic. Thanks a lot for being on the show with me today. And I look forward to talk to you very soon. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
You're
appreciate it.
Ciao.
All right,
bye.
Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.thetempleofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!